A night will pass on the rim before the students are allowed to descend into Nyiragongo. The mountaineers have already roped off a trail into the volcano and set up a scientific advance camp below.
Our strongest mountaineer after Michel has been violently struck by a falling stone. He is now with a hurt shoulder, yes, and out of use. And he got it on the shoulder, fortunately, because it was a very big stone, and on the head, even with a helmet, it could be really a big danger. So
Tazieff is concerned for the safety of the students. Two of his mountaineers have been struck by falling stones. A few weeks earlier, an experienced African climber fell to his death. For their descent, the students will be roped to mountaineers, all alpine veterans.
Even if you fall, no problem. You are safe. The main thing is to stand as erect as possible and as far as possible from the wall, and relax.
Tazieff has demanded only one thing from the students he's chosen to make the climb. Each must carry his own supplies along the trail of loose rock down the 650-foot almost vertical wall.
Allez, on fait chacun un petit truc.
The descent into Nyiragongo, the most dangerous 45 minutes of their lives, has brought the students within sight of the scientific camp on the floor of the caldera. The students have entered Tazieff's world. They are inside an active volcano. Nothing is as it seemed from above. For the first time, they realize the true size of the caldera. It has been a half-mile walk across the volcano's floor to reach the camp. The students face the vast gray emptiness with a mixture of exhilaration and fear. They are in a giant bowl, almost a mile across, surrounded by walls of volcanic rock. For the students on the edge of the fire pit, Nyiragongo's lava lake is sheer savagery and beauty. To the scientists, it's a perfect research laboratory, a constantly erupting volcano. Sampling and measuring the gases for composition, temperature, and pressure is the volcanologist's primary objective. Two of the students have convinced Tazieff to let them help with a gas collecting experiment. By measuring changes in the gases over long periods of time, volcanologists believe they might be able to predict volcanic activity. So far, the scientists have considered the American teenagers tourists. When the students prove they can withstand the noxious fumes, they win the respect of the professionals.
Volcanologists who intend to investigate the eruptive phenomenon itself should be tough. They should also be excellent comrades, as we say in French, the bon camarade. They should help each other. It's a team. It is a teamwork. A teamwork like for a football team, you see. When we see an erupting volcano and our mind asks, what is this phenomenon? How does it work? The answer lies in the very fire itself. This is absolutely unique. You see the lace shows the shape of the huge exploding gas bubble. You see the expanding gas bubble materialized by these lava laces. All the topography, all the morphology, all the activity was practically identical. No changes, almost no changes, but minor ones. And now big changes are occurring.
The activity of the lava lake has increased tremendously since Tazieff's arrival. Many times each day, without warning, the molten lava rises hundreds of feet and fills the fire pit. Clinging to a tiny spot on the edge of the inferno, they face the awesome power of Nyiragongo. Tazieff and his team of volcanologists are battered by a steady rain of burning lava pellets. Lifelines tied around their waists are anchored in the ground to keep them from being sucked into the vortex of the fire pit. For more than 2 hours, Tazieff and his men risk their lives for a few precious ounces of gas. Almost 2 weeks of frustration have passed since the expedition camped on the cold gray floor of Nyiragongo. Many of the scientists have left in disappointment. All that remains of the expedition are a few members of Tazieff's gang, his trusted mountaineers, and the 4 students he selected to stay. In 1948, Tazieff was the first man ever to descend into Nyiragongo, a climb experts considered impossible. Only once in 1959 was he able to reach the lava lake itself. He is determined to try again. Nyiragongo is practically on the equator, yet temperatures in the caldera are always near freezing. It is the bone-chilling reality of camping more than 11,000 feet above sea level.
All actual experience is the best thing one can give to young people. I've now not only seen a rather crazy volcano and crazy volcanologist, but I've seen also, and this is most important, I think, much more important for them, psychological and human problems of existing together on the same place. See? We are rather abnormal volcanologists because we choose more or less deliberately the difficult path instead of the easy path. When we planned this expedition, the lava lake was much higher, the level was much higher, and was of a difficult access, but was accessible. Now it's the lava lake would be accessible if these sudden overflows did not occur.
The turbulence of the lava lake, its wild rising and falling, has changed the crater of Nyiragongo.
Canvas,
Grid, right?
Well, the scale is 1/4,000.
Tazieff's only map is from the 1959 expedition. He wants accurate measurements of the present crater, and the students volunteer for the task.
Right.
Then you could go to the X dike. You know the X dike? Yeah. The small X dike.
Okay, Peter, come on up. Yeah.
Making do with the only equipment available, the students improvise with a camera rangefinder and a mountaineer's rope to measure the crater. The brittle surface is lava, the residue of an eruption that occurred a few months earlier, when the lake overflowed and covered the floor of the volcano. Each crunching footstep is a warning that the entire caldera could be filled again with boiling lava. Tazieff's wife, France, has made the long hike to the summit and the treacherous climb into the volcano to be with her husband. She wants to be with him on Nyiragongo when he attempts to descend into the fire pit. The chances of success seem to lessen with each passing hour. the low rumbling which is always heard in the caldera becomes a roar. This night on Nyiragongo is different. The sky burns with an eerie brilliance. It draws the few remaining members of the expedition to the lake of molten lava. Nyiragongo will show man just how small he really is. "14 days have passed. The mountaineers have tried twice without success to descend into the fire pit. They were stopped by fumes from 2 new vents which have burst open. Tazieff is determined to make at least one attempt himself. Against the advice of his own mountaineers and the other scientists, Tazieff will risk the descent into the fire pit. He will attempt to reach the lava lake. The fire pit is thick with deadly gases and covered with the still hot lava of the previous night's eruption. Tazieff hopes at least to collect some samples of Nyiragongo's newest lava, literally just a few hours old. When he goes over the lip of the crater, he will not be able to be seen by the men handling his light fly. He will be alone against the volcano. He has always said the mountain is the master. The volcano dictates the terms and most often wins. Even though Tazieff may be hurt, the mountaineers and students who are manning his lifeline must pull it up slowly, one short grip at a time. But Tazieff may be torn to pieces on the jagged volcanic rock. For a minute, he is lost entirely in a cloud of steaming gas, bursting from one of the new vents. Tazieff's gas mask has failed. He has been helpless in the deadly fumes. Without oxygen, he weakened and slipped from the ladder. His lungs are scalded by the steaming gas. He wants to go down again, but even the old mountaineer admits the struggle on the rope has exhausted him. This time, Nyiragongo has won.
I feel Bach or Mozart or Haydn or Vivaldi do far better on a high mountain, in a big cave, or in an active volcano than in a concert hall, because beautiful music is something as splendid as nature itself.
There is more for Haroun Tazieff in the volcano than science and adventure. There is the music of the human spirit that cries out to be heard, above the chaos of nature's indifferent roar. There is the dream in man's soul not to conquer nature, but to live with her in harmony. It has been so since man first realized how lonely and insignificant is his place on this violent earth. The merciless fury of nature continues to batter man's fragile foothold on the planet. In the tragic aftermath of tidal wave and flood, volcanic eruption and earthquake, man has little left but his own will to survive. All over the world, even modern technology proves no defense against the infinite destructive forces of nature. The power that demolishes the monuments to man's progress takes its greatest toll on human life. The frail figure of man, struggling for life against natural disaster, shows the helplessness of all nations when faced with the awesome powers of the earth. Yet man endures on the planet. It seems the same unconquerable power of nature is in the nature of man.
I think that man's nature is to fight. In the beginning it was to fight against nature just to survive. Then it was to fight against other men, to get more places, to become more powerful. When man is what is now called civilized, he tries to fight against ignorance, tries to understand. All science, all scientific purpose is to try to diminish the huge amount of ignorance in which we live, to try to understand the world, the outside world, the inside world, and all this is extraordinarily thrilling. And doing things, on the other hand, doing things against what seems to be unvanquishable is also extremely exciting. Both of these very human tendencies are at the base of our try to understand volcanoes.